Hi, it's Dwyer. It's December 18th, 2024. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You have an intriguing fight. An intriguing fight between two punchers. Right? One is British vet Dave Allen. Understand, Allen is the fighter who famously stopped Lucas Brown, who was a very tough heavyweight, off a body shot. Right? Allen knows how to go to your body. Right? He's one of these punchers where you look at the hand speed doesn't look that fast. But when the punch lands, it stops people. Now he's fighting a name you need to know. He's one of the brightest lights in the heavyweight division. This guy's a prospect. He's 7 years younger than Allen. He's 25 years old. His name is Johnny Fisher. Now understand how highly thought of Johnny Fisher is, right? Unbeaten fighter, 11 knockouts in 12 fights. Let me repeat that. 11 knockouts in 12 fights. He's 6'4", perfect size for a heavyweight. He is an athlete. Right? The secret to Johnny Fisher is that Fisher can drop his hands. He's such an athlete that he can be outside. He has an excellent right hook. It's not a straight right, it's a right hook. But because he's an athlete, he can start throwing it from way outside the pocket, step into the punch, and be right up on you. Right? The flaws make the diamond. I want people to realize that the secret to Larry Holmes, the secret to his jab, was the fact that Holmes threw the punch from below his waist. Right? If you follow the rule book, you're going to be at a disadvantage at very high-end boxing because people are going to know what you're going to do. It's when you're idiosyncratic, it's when you have nuances to your game that an opponent can't properly prepare for you in sparring. The problem with fighting Johnny Fisher is that it's hard to tell the trajectory of his punches. In other words, you see Johnny, he's bouncing around outside. Then he starts to throw a right hook, but he's not throwing it from up here. I can't follow his hand from point of origin. Right? No, the punch is coming from, let's say, around his elbow. It's coming from slightly above his waist. So as he throws it, I don't know where it's going to land. Is he aiming for my chin? Is he aiming for my temple? Is he aiming for the top of my head? There's also a length dynamic that throws people off. So Fisher is so highly thought of that he's a 12-1 favorite in this fight. Think about that. Right? A young guy with 12 fights fighting a KG vet who's fought Lucas Brown, who fought Dillian White, lost to Dillian White, but fought Dillian White, right? Who fought Tony Yoka, who fought and got stopped by Luis Ortiz, right? Against a KG vet, a heavyweight, a young guy with 12 pro fights is a 12-1 favorite. The bet I'm recommending here, and we're going to cut that 12-1 down, right? The bet I'm recommending here is the prop, and I'll put the link to Odds Checker so you can see the odds for yourself. It's the prop that the fight does not go the distance, right? That prop is not 12-1, which is what you would get if you just took Fisher to win. That prop is 6.5-1. And it gives you the outside possibility of Dave Allen ending this fight by stoppage. Let's face it, these young phenoms come along and they look bulletproof. You think to yourself, oh wow, what could possibly stop this guy? Then you see a Jared Anderson against a Martin Bacoli, and of course, Anderson's getting hit with uppercuts and has no idea what to do. Right? These unbeaten fighters, you're going to be surprised at their lack of survival skills. Right? A young guy gets hurt. He's accustomed to winning. He's accustomed to being catered to. He goes down. He doesn't know what to do. When he gets up, he doesn't know how to clinch. He doesn't know how to back away. He doesn't know how to get on his back foot. He doesn't have a back foot. Right? So, for this better, when I see a matchup like this, I'm thinking somebody's going to get stopped. Right? The KG vet's going to be in there thinking, look, this young guy's going to have to show me he belongs in the ring with me, whatever the odds. Right? Heavy punches are going to be landed. We'll find out a lot. Now let's talk about why I think Fisher wins the fight by stoppage. Right? Don't get me wrong. I won't be crying if Dave Allen wins the fight by stoppage. Because the prop, the minus 650 prop, is that the fight doesn't go the distance. So if it doesn't go the distance, I'm going to be a happy camper. But understand the risk involved. If it goes the distance, you lose it all. Because the price is so expensive, a minus 650 on the prop that the fight doesn't go the distance, you really can't hedge it. Right? Well, let's talk about why Johnny Fisher wins the fight. It's because Dave Allen these days is a bit of an illusion. You heard me talk about some of the big names that he fought. Well, understand, he got stopped by Tony Yoka. Yoka only had 4 pro fights at the time. Right? In addition to getting stopped by Luis Ortiz, he fought and lost to Dillian White. In other words, in big fights, Dave Allen doesn't get his hand raised. Well, understand what's happened to Dave Allen. Once you go from hot young guy in your early 20s and you start to drift into your late 20s, early 30s, that crowd around you that thought that you were boxing's next big thing realizes that you're just another journeyman in boxing. Right? You're, a contender, maybe not a top contender. So let's talk about the quality of his opposition. 5 of Dave Allen's last 6 opponents had losing records. Right, folks? He's fighting guys off the side of milk cartons. Right? This is a guy who, you don't have to ask whether he's padding his record. You can actually see it by doing basic research on the guy. The one guy who didn't have a losing record that Dave Allen fought in his last 6 fights was Frazer Clark, who was 7-0 at the time. He lost that fight. Right? Importantly, Frazer Clark stopped him because Allen got a broken eardrum during the fight and could not continue. Now that's important because that tells you that, when things go haywire, even against a heavyweight who's not supposed to be a big puncher, right? He was fighting Frazer Clark. He wasn't fighting Fabio Wardley. Dave Allen found a way out of that fight. Right? Now, by contrast, Johnny Fisher right now is in that part of his career where many people around him feel that he's a big part of the future. Right? So, understand, he's fighting real opponents. In his last fight, he stopped Alan Babbage in the first round. Right? Just understand, 3 of his last 4 fights, each against fighters with winning records. This is the opposite of Dave Allen. In 3 of Fisher's last 4 fights, his opponent did not make it out of the first round. So this is the guy who starts early. Now you understand why I don't think this fight goes the distance. Understand too what I'm saying about the angles of his punches. It's very important. Right? He's seemingly too far outside. This guy likes a cushion. Right? He's seemingly too far outside. I believe opponents early on think to themselves, there's no way the guy can hit me. Particularly if it's not a straight right hand. Right? Fisher has a jab. It's not a Larry Holmes level jab, but it's functional. Right? It blinds his opponent. Then he throws that right hook from distance. And just understand, because he's throwing it from low, because he's an athlete who can stay far enough away from you where he doesn't have to have his hands up for defense, and because he throws that right hand from just a little bit above his waist, I believe guys in the first round are completely stunned when they get hit with a heavy right hand from distance. That's why guys are getting knocked out in the first round. They can't track the trajectory of the punch. These are heavyweights. Some of them can't move. They can't crowd him, so Fisher has the spacing that he wants. Right? And of course, they can't block the shot because they could barely see the origin of the shot. Right? So I'm expecting heavy action. Understand too, in a showcase card like this, I'm not saying the card is that high quality. Right? You have Fury fighting Usyk, but underneath them, let's say this card is not going to be confused with the Beterbiev Bivol card that's being discussed for next year. Right? Or even the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson undercard that had Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, also had an excellent Mario Barrios, Abel Ramos fight. Right? This Fury Usyk card's not the best. Truth be told, this Johnny Fisher Dave Allen fight is a bit of a mismatch. But it's going to be interesting boxing to see Johnny Fisher, a guy who stops you early. If you look at his resume, you're going to see several second round knockouts. Right? In against a guy with a big punch who can load up on body shots. Right? But who isn't as mobile, isn't the athlete Fisher is. I'm expecting a stoppage, while a minus 650 on a fight doesn't go the distance prop isn't that appetizing. Because Dave Allen couldn't even go the distance against Fraser Clark. Because Dave Allen is fighting fighters with losing records of late. He's not fighting prospects of late. And because the people watching this card will be some of the most influential people in boxing. Right? The people behind Riyadh season. Folks who are interested in the heavyweight division and want to see a battle between a former champ and the current champ. Right? This is going to be Johnny Fisher's opportunity to put the heavyweight world on notice. I think he tries to get Dave Allen out of there in the first half of the fight. Let me also mention a truism here. This is the heavyweight division. Understand, a puncher only has to be right once, particularly at heavyweight. Right? You can be a Dave Allen. In other words, you were highly thought of. You're fighting Dillian White. Then, of course, things don't quite work out. You end up with more than a handful of losses. You're no longer the talk of the party. Understand, if he stops this vibrant prospect, this unbeaten prospect, in front of this crowd, if he does it in dramatic fashion, by stoppage, if there's no controversy, if we're not after the fight asking, wow, how did the judges come up with that decision? Right? Or, gee, that looked like a low blow to me. If there's clarity and Dave Allen wins, understand, he'll be just one more fight away from fighting a highly ranked contender. Right? If you're a heavyweight, you're literally just one upset away on the right stage from being back in the mix. Right? Dave Allen might even be able to get a shot at the heavyweight title if he's able to win this fight and then one big fight against a ranked heavyweight. Right? If one of these heavyweight champions has a voluntary. So there's a lot in it for Dave Allen. Understand too, heavyweights age more slowly. Allen is 32. He does have a punch. If he can win this fight, it'll get him at least a few more paydays. So this is a big fight. I'm expecting Fisher to win it. I'm expecting Fisher to win it by stoppage. But because Allen does have a punch, and understand, you don't have to be the best boxer out there to have a punch. Because Allen has a punch, and because this could be a big career opportunity for him, and because I'm cutting the odds almost in half, right? Fisher to win 12-1. I don't want that. Fight not going the distance, 6.5-1. Okay, I'll take that. Right? The way I'm playing it is that the fight does not go the distance. I'm expecting Fisher to win, but if Allen gets lucky, I'll be okay. As long as he gets lucky by knockout. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.